If you've ever had a client say, I'm drinking tons of water, I'm using hydrating serums, I'm misting all day, and my skin still feels tight, then this video is for you and your clients. This cycle is what I call the hydration trap, and adding more water only to watch it disappear almost immediately does not help. Most skin professionals are taught to treat symptoms like dryness, sensitivity, acne, even without ever being taught to understand why the skin is behaving that way. Now, if you are new here, I'm Renee Serbon, skin expert and postgraduate educator in skin physiology and corneotherapy, and this channel exists to help you stop guessing and start understanding skin at a deeper level. Today, we're tackling one of the most persistent myths in skincare. Dehydrated skin just needs more water. And by the end of this video, I hope that you'll understand why water alone is never the solution, and that you'll have a clear professional way to explain what actually creates lasting hydration in the skin. Let's start by clearing up a distinction that will cause confusion even at a professional level. Dehydration and dryness are not the same thing. Dehydration means that the skin is lacking water, and dryness, on the other hand, what we'd call a lipidic skin, means that the skin is lacking lipids. A client can be oily and dehydrated, and a client can also be dry and dehydrated. And treating one like the other is where things go really, really wrong. The hydration trap happens when dehydration is treated as only a water problem. So we pile on hyaluronic acid, facial mist, hydrating masks, maybe even increase water intake or encourage the client to. And while none of that is inherently bad, it becomes ineffective if the skin can't hold on to the water. Pouring water into a leaky bucket doesn't solve the problem. You have to fix the leak first, and in skin, that leak almost always comes down to barrier dysfunction, specifically involving lipids and natural moisturizing factor. So let's talk about the third line of skin barrier defense, the lipid barrier or the multilamellar structure. The stratum corneum is structured like bricks and mortar, whereas the corneocytes are the bricks and the intracellular lipid matrix is the mortar. When that lipid structure is intact, water stays where it belongs, inside of the skin. And when it becomes compromised, water loss or transepidermal water loss increases dramatically. So no matter how much water you apply topically, it evaporates almost immediately, and the process is even faster in low humidity areas, such as where I live. This is why clients with oily skins can still feel tight or dehydrated. Sebum on the surface is not the same thing as healthy intracellular lipid matrix. However, it is a helpful tool to slow down water loss as we work on rebuilding the skin's own barrier defense. So now let's move on to the second and most overlooked piece of the hydration puzzle, the Natural Moisturizing Factor or NMF. NMF lives inside the corneocytes, and NMF itself are water-soluble substances like amino acids, lactic acid, urea, minerals, and they act like microscopic sponges, if you will. Their job is to bind and retain the water within a cell, keeping the corneocytes flexible, plump, and functional. Here is where the trap happens, however. NMF can be depleted by age, UV exposure, over-cleansing, high pH, or stripping cleansers, just to name a few examples. When NMF levels drop, the cells lose their ability to hold water even if you apply excellent hydrators and even if the lipid barrier looks okay. You can't hydrate a cell that has lost its water binding capacity, and this is why skin can still look dull, tight, or crepey despite doing all the right hydrating things. Okay, true hydration is never a single step. It's a three-part system, and all three have to work together. I call this the triangle of hydration. First, water. Yes, internal hydration matters. Your clients have to drink the water. And yes, topical humectants like glycerin or hyaluronic acid do have a role. Second is lipids. Without ceramides, cholesterol, and fatty acids, water cannot be retained. This is how we repair the leaky bucket. We add those things to the skincare regime. And third is NMF support. The skin must be able to bind water inside the cells themselves, and that means replenishing amino acids, urea, lactic acid, and avoid the practices that strip them away. When all three are addressed, hydration will stabilize. the skin stops chasing water and starts functioning properly again. And if there's a takeaway from today's video, let it be this: dehydration is not a water problem. It's a water retention problem, and most often we tackle it by adding lipids to the skincare regime. Lasting hydration requires a competent lipid barrier, functional natural moisturizing factor, and appropriate water delivery. Now, this kind of systems-based thinking is exactly what we train inside the Professional Skin Assessment Mastery, where we move beyond symptoms and into true clinical reasoning. If this video helped you rethink hydration, please like, subscribe, and share with a colleague who's still stuck in the hydration trap. And I will see you again next week.